Hey guys, this is Shota Sensei. Good morning world. Ohayo sekai. How are you guys doing? First of all, thank you all so much for subscribing to my free email newsletter. I really appreciate it and I love you guys all. And as I promised you guys, I will make kanji name, your own kanji names, okay? And as I do it all manually by myself, it might take a little time, probably 1 or 2 days. So please wait for that. And in the meantime, please enjoy this Japanese tutorial free lesson, okay? So just to introduce myself, I am Shota Sensei. The meaning is the teacher Shota. So I'm a digital creator who makes posts or contents on the tips or tutorial videos of learning Japanese. Okay, I'm mainly on Instagram or YouTube, but I'm recently on Spotify as well. So please check my Spotify too. And today I will have two special lessons. Okay, first of all, my contents are all or for all the Japanese learners. So regardless of your level, like from the very beginners or to the experts, you can enjoy my lessons. And I have had a lot of questions about learning Japanese, but especially these two topics are always on top of of the questions, the pain points of the Japanese learners. So again, if you are the very beginner of the Japanese, please listen carefully and don't take it too seriously, even if you don't understand the whole lesson, because I will, send you the email feedback, follow-ups, and I'll make, tutorial videos just like this. All, so you can, I'm sure you'll be able to understand and also to get used to listening to Japanese and also reading Japanese. All right. And for the experts as well, because, I will give you the simple ways and, the methods to think simply in learning Japanese. And so that you will be, even more fluent and you get, you know, you get even better at speaking Japanese and also writing Japanese. So, and these are the two topics that I would like to cover today. All right. So the first, um, I get a lot of questions. What are the differences among ga, mo, and wa? All right. So I want to explain to you guys one by one. Okay, first of all, ga, mo, wa are normally used as a be verb. What is a be verb? Well, when you think about the English grammar or any Latin language grammar, it consists of a lot of elements, but um, when you make a be verb, it consists of three important elements. The first one is how do I do this? How can I point? Okay, never mind. Okay, the first one is the S, which stands for subject. All right, so the subject is I, and then the V, which stands for verb. So verb is to do something or to be someone, right? And today, now the verb is be. So to convert the be verb to the subject I, that the be would change to am, right? You don't say like I is Shota or I are Shota. You don't say like that, right? Instead, what you say is I am Shota, just converting the be verb to the subject, appropriate way. Okay, and what does the C stand for then? Well, this C stands for a complement. Complement. Complement is used as the something corresponds with the subject. So, for example, when you make a be verb sentence, S, V, and C, so then the S equals the complement. All right, so that means I equals Shota, or he equals Shota. He is Shota. Okay, that's pretty easy, right? But the point, when you think about the differences with Japanese grammar and English grammar in making an SVC sentence, is that when in English you have to convert the be verbs depending on the subject, like I am, you are, he is. In Japanese, in comparison, you don't need to do that. So I will explain them to you guys later. All right. So, okay, now what about the ga, mo, wa sentences? So, first of all, this one, wa sentences, what form is the most typical way, and that's the basic and the normal way to make an SVC sentence. So this is probably what you should learn first, all right? So normal and typical way to make an SVC sentence, all right? Sorry, I made a typo right here, but normal and typical way to make an SVC sentence, all right? So, 私は翔太です。And somehow, okay, this is really important. The second sentence right here. Only in making an SVC sentence, just like this case, wa is written as ha, the hiragana ha, which is usually read ha. All right. So the hiragana for wa is something different. However, only when you make these SVC sentences, you use this ha sentence. I mean this ha word. But just remember, it's only this case. So yeah. So just remember this. You write ha hiragana, but you read as wa. All right. And you don't have to remember all the characters, hiragana, katakana, and kanji characters. Never until you learn how to make conversations. So at this point, please try not to remember all the characters, all right? Just go through all my tutorials and just be able to speak first and then remember all the characters. That's the order that you should make in learning Japanese, okay? And next, I'll talk about this. Not only for SVC sentences, what is used for a lot of situations, and it's one of the basics of Japanese grammar. Yeah. So as I told you, wa, shota wa, or watashi wa is how you make an SVC sentence. But for example, when you make, how about SVO sentences? For example, when you have the objects like I like dogs or I eat an apple, the apples and the dogs are the objects, right? But in making those sentences, we also use the wa. So just remember that wa is such an important Japanese word, and in those cases, you don't write as wa hiragana. However, you write the ha hiragana characters, but you read it as wa. I know it's complicated, but just go through. So yeah, okay. And next, I'll talk about important thing about the particle in the end. All right. So first, you don't you don't necessarily have to use the particle at the end of each sentence. That makes sense enough, even if you just say, 私はShota. 私はShota. That means I am Shota. However, what's special about Japanese grammar is that depending on the particle at the end of each sentence, you can adjust the politeness of your sentence. All right. Again, once again, this is really important. Depending on the particle at the end of each sentence, you can adjust the politeness of your sentence. Okay. So if you don't say the desu at the end of this sentence, it sounds a little kind of casual and not rude, but not appropriate in public scenes, like when you introduce yourself at your company or at school. Instead, you should definitely choose desu. Desu. 私はShota desu. Because desu is the polite and the normal and the typical way. I mean, the typical particle that you should choose. In Japanese grammar. Okay, so once again, really important. Depending on the particle at the end of each sentence, you can adjust the politeness. However, desu particle is the most typical way, and that's the basic particle. So yeah, try choosing desu. Okay, so next, what about the most sentences? 私もShota です again. So again, the particle is です this case, okay? It's the polite form and the basic form, meaning I am Shota. But as I told you, in Japanese, you don't have to convert the form of each verb depending on the subject like you do in English. However, we do have 3 types of be verbs, okay? And this is the second one, which is mo. The first one was wa, but the second is mo right here. Mo is used as I am also the complement. In this case, the complement is Shota, my name. So if you say this, 私もShotaです, it means that I'm Shota too. I am also Shota. For example, this case, when I somehow meet someone for the first time and his name is Shota, well, that's such a coincidence, right? And then you say this word, 私もShota です. That's funny, right? But the easy examples are like this. 犬も猫も動物です。犬も猫も動物です。Okay? So, 犬 means dogs, and 猫 means cats, and then 動物 means animals. So, both dogs and the cats are animals. Dogs and cats are both animals. Okay? So, another example that 私も日本人です。日本人です。What does 日本人 mean? Well, that means Japanese person. Okay? So, 私もJapanese. It means that I am also Japanese. I'm Japanese as well. Okay? So, in what cases would you say that? Well, for example, when you go to study abroad. So for example, when you are on an exchange program and you go to a high school in California, US, and then in California, you can imagine, how many different nationalities would gather around in a community, right? But in a class, you see lots of foreigners, like, those from Canada, those from Brazil, those from Turkey and the Netherlands. And if you find a Japanese student right there, and then I am also Japanese, that's such a coincidence. It's rare to happen, right? And then you can say, 私も日本人です。私も日本人です。I am also Japanese too. Okay, so in those cases, you use も, all right? Okay, and the next one is important too, which is が sentences. Okay, again, I choose the particle, this form, but 私が翔太です。私が翔太です。Well, が is used when you seem, when you seem to be the only one of the seeds. Sorry, I made a typo again. Sorry, but anyway, I will just give an example. Who among you speaks more than 5 languages? Then I know that it's rare to happen, right? That where somebody speaks more than 5 languages, but and then nobody else seems to apply to that. But if only I would apply to it, in that case, I can say 私が話せます or about the example of this. Okay, the complement is Japanese again. Okay, and imagine again when you go to a high school in Germany. Okay, Germany, you're on an exchange program, but in Germany, not so many Japanese students would go to a German high school, right? Probably just 1 or 2 Japanese students on each school. I don't think that's that many. Just less than 1, but just an example. So okay, and imagine that you're the only Japanese student at the high school, and then the teacher looks at the list of the student of the class, and the teacher realizes that there is only 1 Japanese student in the class, and the teacher says, okay, by the way, who among you guys is from Japan? And then I can say 私が日本人です。私が日本人です。Oh, you are Japanese. I mean, you are the only one. Okay, so が is used for the limited compliments. Okay, so when the compliment is rare and when the compliment is the only one in the context, and then you choose this word 私が翔太です。All right. Okay, next one. Ga is also effective when you emphasize the C. So, how about this example? Okay, your grandma is kind of forgetful, and she just makes the same mistakes all the time. She mixes up the names of the grandchildren. Okay, and she calls the kids by the wrong names. Yuta, Kota, Yota, and then Shota, and she points out the different brother, Shota. But then I say, Grandma, I am Shota right here. That's Yuta. I am Shota. So then you want to emphasize yourself, right? Meaning, I am Shota, not him. In that case, you can also say, 僕がShota or 私がShotaです。Okay, so when the complement stands out or when the complement is limited in the context, you can choose this ga form, all right? So these are the differences of ga, wa, mo, and ga forms, all right? So again, let's go through these 3 sentences again. 私は日本人です。Meaning, I am Japanese. And then, 私も 日本人です。If you say that, you can imagine that in the context there is somebody else who is also Japanese, and then you say, I am also Japanese. Okay? あ、私も日本人です。Yeah, I'm Japanese too. Okay? What about this case? 私が日本人です。私が日本人です。It means that when you want to emphasize that you're Japanese and it seems to be, you seem to be the only Japanese in the context or in the community. And then you can say, 私が日本人です。私が日本人。Oh, you're the only guy. You're the guy right there. Okay? So these are the three explanations. But if you want to know even more deeply, please, just stay tuned and I'll make even more videos on that. But yeah, hope these explanations had helped you guys. All right. And next, 2 useful Japanese words. Do you know all the meanings of these 2 words? The first one is すみません. すみません. And the second one is お疲れ様. お疲れ様. I promise you guys, you will hear these 2 words every single day when you're in Japan. Especially if you work in Japan, you will definitely hear these 2 words even more than 20 times a day. I promise you guys. Yeah, that's why I wanted to explain the true meanings of these 2 words. Okay. The first word, すみません, has basically 3 meanings. But before explaining those 3 meanings, I want to explain the meanings of, not the meaning, sorry, but the origin of this word, すみません. Okay? So, the origin of this word, すみません, is could not be entitled, could not be done. This cannot be done, or this cannot be compensated, or this cannot be just enough. Okay. It's just not done. That's the meaning for this, すみません. Okay. Because 住む is the verb to get done, or to be done. Okay, so this is not done. This is not enough. It's never done. That's the origin of this word, すみません. Okay, so basically it means that you're actually apologizing. Okay, when you're actually making apologies on someone. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry, and I cannot be sorry enough. Or, oh, sorry, I have done something irreplaceable. I've done something that cannot be compensated, entitled. Sorry for that. That's the origin, right? So, and then you can imagine that these 2 meanings are natural, right? So first, excuse me, and then second, sorry. Okay, let's go through all these 3 examples. Okay, so excuse me, just like when you bump into someone on the street, it's rare to happen here in Japan, but if any, you can say, すみません, すみません, excuse me. Or when you are at a restaurant, for example, when you're at the sushi bar, and then you call out the waiter, or when you start talking with the chef or the cook, you can say, すみません, すみません, excuse me, but may I have a question? Yeah, excuse me. So when you ask the way on the street to someone, you can also say すみません, すみません. Right? Okay, and the next one right here is sorry. But imagining the origin of this word, すみません. It's natural, right? That すみません actually means I'm sorry, because the origin is that's something serious. I'm sorry for that. That's the origin of this word, すみません. So yeah, not gonna yeah. As I told you, this means I'm sorry. Okay, but the last one right here, the third meaning is important. It actually means thank you in Japan too. In what situations? Okay, for example, when someone gives you a gift, we have this kind of unique culture called omiyage culture. Omiyage actually means souvenir. So when you go traveling to somewhere, for example, when you go to Hawaii and then you go back and then you bring you actually buy some souvenir in Hawaii and you bring the gift and then you just distribute the gifts. I mean, probably just a chocolate or cookies. They just distribute, actually give the souvenir to your friends or family. That's the culture called omiyage. Omiyage. Okay, and imagine that one of your colleagues goes to Hawaii and gets back, and then she gives you this omiyage, and then you can say, "Oh, すみません, すみません." It actually means not excuse me or sorry, right? And then what it means that I'm grateful for that. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so those shy Japanese people says thank you not as ありがとうございます、ありがとう, but they choose to say, すみません、すみません. Okay, so this is the meaning. But anyway, the origin is that it's I cannot be sorry enough, or I cannot thank you enough for it. Okay. All right. And the next word, this word is important too again. お疲れ様. Okay. So basically 4 meanings, but the origin of this word お疲れ様 is the 4th one, the last one right here. Okay. So let's look at the 4th one, the last one first. It means you must be tired. You must be tired. That's actually the origin of this word お疲れ様. お疲れ様. Because 疲れる or 疲れた means tired. You are tired, okay? And sama is like, when you make a polite noun, or when you call someone's name really politely, then you say sama, like Shota sama or Shacho sama, the president. Dear, yeah, dear customer, dear friends, and then dear Mr. Tired. That's kind of funny, but yeah, dear Mr. Tired. That's actually the origin of this word, お疲れ様. Okay. So that's the origin of this word. You must be tired. お疲れ様. Okay. Imagine the case where your brother has a football game and he finishes the game and he gets back home, and then you can say お疲れ様, お疲れ様, you must be tired, you've done a great work. That's the meaning for it. お疲れ様. Okay. All right. That was the origin of this word, which is the 4th one. But when you look at the first one though, hello, and the second one, the first and the second one, these 2 words have something in common, right? What are they? Well, actually, both these 2 words, meanings, are used at work and internal only. Okay, at work and internal only. What does it mean? Well, imagine the case. When you work at a company in Japan, okay, let's say Toyota, when you are a salesperson at Toyota, and when you write an email to your colleague, so then you begin the meaning, you begin the email with Shota-san, お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。What about others? Marina-san, お疲れ様です。Okay? Actually, お疲れ様 or お疲れ様です is one of the greetings. I mean, important greetings here in Japan. Okay? So it's used at work and internal only. So when you make an email to your clients, if you say お疲れ様です、お疲れ様です, that could be a little kind of weird and sometimes rude. So be careful not to choose お疲れ様 when you say that to your clients or somebody who is external. I mean, out of your company, okay? Instead of お疲れ様, you can choose お世話になります。お世話になります。That's the appropriate word instead of お疲れ様 to the external people at work, all right? I mean, on business. So, and お疲れ様 could be used when you say hello, but also for when you say goodbye to お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。Okay, so actually when you go into the office, you can say おはようございます or お疲れ様です。Then when you leave the office, you can again also say お疲れ様です because that also means goodbye. Okay. And the last one, the third meaning of this word, お疲れ様, is actually this. Thank you for your work, or just GJ, good job, good job, お疲れ様. But, this is again for at work actually, because, when your kid starts walking, and when you say good job, you've done it great, but you don't say like お疲れ様, お疲れ様. You don't say that because お疲れ様it's used it means good job, but for the actual works. So not like what somebody does for fun. Okay, good job. Good job at work, and thank you for your work. That's the meaning for it. So when your colleagues helps you prepare for the presentations, and then you can say お疲れ様です。That means that good job and thank you for your work. I appreciate your hard work. That's the meaning for this word. This one, お疲れ様. All right. So basically, お疲れ様 has 4 very important meanings. But again, the origin of this word is you must be tired, or dear tired man, dear tired lady. But anyhow, お疲れ様 is mainly used on business, okay, in business situations and internal only, okay. But that's probably the most used words in Japanese business scenes. I promise you guys, whenever you start working in Japan, you hear this word all the time. Yeah. All right. And actually, I have my vision, and I really want you guys to know my vision today. So my vision is I want to create a new online cool, awesome Japanese school. And not just by my hand, but I need your hand together with all the Japanese learners, where everyone, every Japanese learner, everyone who registers would speak Japanese fluently. And at last but not least, share their happy experiences in Japan. Okay. For example, I've been to Hokkaido, I've been to Hiroshima and had this wonderful experience, and they share these experiences so that everyone else could, do the same happy experience too. So this is the vision I have now. And, you know, the big news, the happy news is that I'm already working on this project, and I will launch this online school in January. So not to miss any updates or any upcoming information on this, please stay tuned and please keep reading my email newsletter, okay? So anyway, ありがとうございます。Thank you guys so much, and I love you guys so much. Every single subscription of your guys really counts. So 見てくれてありがとうございます。Please wait for your kanji names that should arrive in a few days. いつもありがとう。またね。バイバイ。さようなら。